What's up, YouTube? Dr. Kemp, Hammond Doc here once again. In this session, I want to talk about some of the most used tools that I utilize here in my shop here at Vintage B3 Organ Incorporated. And let me start off by saying this, and certainly I would not want to forget this important point, that the most used tool, the most important tool in any type of shop, repair shop, or business is the brain. That's the tool. That's the instrument that you want to train, and through reading and studying and learning and dialoguing with people and taking classes and watching videos. So this is that brain is the most important tool, of course. Then and your hands, you need hands to manipulate the various instruments or tools that you're going to use in the shop. And I'm going to talk about tools that I use specifically in working on Leslie speakers, Leslie amplifiers, which go into the Leslie speaker cabinet systems. Okay, and then maybe at another time I can talk about some other tools that I use in working on Leslie's or Hammonds. But for this video, I want to talk specifically about tools that I use in repairing Leslie amplifiers. So let's take a look at some of the things that I have on my desk here. I've already laid out a few things as far as instruments or tools. Now, I'm not going to talk about the parts that I use to replace parts in the Leslie, but rather the instruments or tools that I use to do the job. Generally, I mean, you can see them right here, but let me go ahead and take some of them up and do it that way. Well, I tell you, as far as I'm concerned, this little tool here, this needle nose pliers is perhaps the most valuable, one of the most valuable. I don't know what's the most valuable, but I once misplaced this and the set of needle nose pliers, and I'm telling you, I felt stressed out, and in fact, so I felt so much stress that I got on the internet and ordered additional sets. I ordered several packages of this type of needle nose pliers, and let me see, are they the same length? Yeah, approximately the same length. These are very difficult to find in a store, so I had to order them over the internet. But these are of vital importance if you're going to do Leslie repair. Come on up a little bit here. All right. Another instrument or tool, and when I say instrument used for the purpose of repair, is the little wire cutters here, little clippers. These are very important. I like these because they fit into my hand easily and nicely. They're comfortable, and they're just right. These are Cobalt. This is a Cobalt brand. I like the Cobalt tools. In fact, I use a lot of Cobalt tools in terms of screwdrivers, like and enclosed drivers. I use Cobalt brand. The reason I do that is because of the handles. They're excellent tools as well in terms of the actual application parts of them, but the handles are made from this rubber material, and they feel real comfortable in my hands, and so my hands aren't aching at the end of the day, even in terms of these types of pliers. I like to use the Cobalt brand. Enough advertisement for Cobalt. That's not the purpose of this video. In other words, I digressed there. Moving on. From time to time I have to strip some wire. So these are some wire cutters or strippers that I use. Obviously, I do a lot of soldering, and so there's some people like to use a soldering iron. Some people say don't use a soldering. Some techs say don't use a soldering gun. I always use my soldering gun. I use a soldering iron when I'm on call, when I do calls, call outs. So when I go to a church to work on an organ or Leslie, I take my soldering iron. I have a kit. I have a box of tools that I carry with me, and there's a soldering iron there. It's an electronic soldering iron, and I use that. But here in my shop, I use this soldering gun, and I'm able to do what I need to do with this. This is it says 140/100 watts Waller soldering. This is a soldering gun. And with this, along with this, I use this Radio Shack solder, and this is 60/40. That's what this is. It's almost time for me to go buy another roll of this. This gets used often. From time to time, when I need some electrical tape, I like to use the Scotch electrical tape. In terms of cleaner, this is Radio Shack contact cleaner lubricant. $8, $9, $10 for a can of this. The Oxit is much more expensive, about $15 for a can of this. So for most jobs, I use this less expensive Radio Shack brand. If you want to call it tools, cans, like the cleaner stuff. I use this a lot in the shop. This air, like a can of compressed air. Good stuff to blow out the Leslies. I use a lot of paper towels in cleaning. I use the Great Value wipes to clean off the Leslie amplifiers before I work on them. In terms of diagnosing the quality of a resistor, I use this little Radio Shack card here. Very, very important tool to use in the shop. And I have several of these that I've collected over time, so that I will always have one. So here's another one, and I have one or two in my drawer here. So I keep those. Let's see. Of course, lights. Lighting is essential. You need good lights. I like this lamp here. This lamp is a very important tool This lamp, all these lamps are very important. So I like this lamp because I can move it over. I like this lamp because it has a magnifying glass in it. And this is a lamp just for this little clamp here. I can move it close up things for things that I need, little small areas. It's more like for details. So I keep these 3 lamps on my desk. What else? Of course, where would you be without a fluke? Where would I be without my fluke? This is my instrument, my primary instrument for diagnosing problems with my Leslie Leslie amplifier in terms of the resistors and voltage. My fluke. I like to say, turn the fluke on. Most recently, I've acquired the Blue ESR meter. This is an accurate evaluator of capacitance. So I used to use exclusively my Fluke multimeter, turn it on to turn the dial to capacitance, and I would evaluate capacitors using it. But it has been widely written, and so there is plenty of literature that indicates that there may be some inaccuracy in the evaluation of capacitance when using a multimeter. So I did some research and found out about the Blue ESR, and I've been very pleased with it as an accurate measure of capacitance. And in fact, I use both. I use both of them together when I evaluate a capacitor. I check it with this, and then I check it with this, because this gives me numbers in terms of the level of the capacitance, and this tells me whether or not it's good or not good. So I use both, but I depend on this to tell me if it's actually good or not good. This tells me how good it is to the degree that it's accurate. I've had this test, the multimeter show me that a capacitor fell that it fell outside of the range of usage, capacitance usage, and this turn around and tell me that the capacitor is good. So I retained the capacitor because this said it is good. This is your better test, more accurate test. It is much more reliable. And this little bad boy right here. Now, often I usually use this. I mean, I have fun with it. And in fact, I just used it in the shop just the other day. This is a thermometer. This is a Fluke thermometer, and it sends a beam of light. That's what it does. Let's see if I can put it on the wall there. See on the wall? So it sends this. There you go. See that? So it sends that little beam, and it checks for heat. So I can shine this on any of these, like this lamp here, for example, and see how hot is this lamp. And right now, let me see, let me come down here, shining it on this lamp. It shows 92, 95 degrees, 95.5 degrees Fahrenheit. There you go, 99, 97. In that spot right there, 96.5 And you see it, you can see what it is, what it says. So it's scanning it right now. And I can put it on anything and it'll tell me what the temperature of that particular thing is. And the way I used it just the other day is to gauge the temperature of a tube. You can go back and look at a recent video that I made dealing with the evaluation of some tubes and 6GW8, some 6GW8 tubes. Go back and look at that video. And toward the end of the video, I used this thermometer, wherein it was showing how as the tube increased in heat, as it became hotter, it began to lose its ability to sustain its quality of excellence. So it lost or it had diminished working quality as it became hotter. So the hotter the tube was, the less efficient. Okay, that's a better word. Efficiency. It became less efficient in doing its job. So, and it was important for me to see that, because at first when I put the tube in, the tube tester, it looked as though it might test. At first it looked like it was on the edge, and then it started on the borderline, and then it started getting better. The tube started looking okay, it's warming up. It's this tube is going to be good. It looked like it might be good. But as I left the tube in the tap, had I pulled it out right then, I may have said, "Oh, this tube is okay." But as because I saw the variability in my testing, I decided to leave it in longer. And as I left the tube in longer, the tube began to dissipate in terms of its quality of efficiency, or attenuate, and I was able to determine that the hotter the tube became, the less efficient it was. And the reason that's important is because when you put a tube into a Leslie amplifier, that tube gets hot, very hot, and you don't want to be playing the organ, and then as the tube gets hotter, then you start losing power. The organ starts getting softer and softer while you're playing. And you're like, "What's wrong? What's wrong?" And you think something's wrong with the organ, when in actuality, you got a bad tube somewhere that's losing its ability to produce as it should, because it is increasing in heat. It's getting hotter. So this fluke was helpful in that diagnostic process. So it's an excellent tool to have. And since I'm showing you my toys here, I have a nice little case, flute case for this. This stuff isn't cheap, by the way. My ESR came without a case. So what I did was I purchased a fluke case for my ESR to go into. And the fluke, another thing about this ESR is it does not have a stand. Like my fluke has a stand here, and there was a previous video where I talked about that. So what I did was I bought just a little card stand, and I opened it up, and it allows for my ESR to sit right in here. And so ESR can sit right here on the desk. Oh, you can't see it. There it is. See it, so it's sitting right there on it. There it is. And of course I have case for my Fluke 189 True RMS multimeter. This is the case for that. Well, let's see. Is there anything else? When I need to label something, I use this. I use this labeler here. And of course, you can pick these up at Office Depot. This is where I got this. This is a Brother. If I need to do some calculations, I keep a calculator close by. Most of the time, I'm able to calculate in my head and figure things out. But if I do need to do some figuring or calculating, I have the calculator close by to facilitate my calculating. Okay? Well, that's, I think, just about it. Of course, I have pens. This is great. The Sharpie, the thick Sharpie. I like this as a tool that I use, and as well as these Sharpies. I like to use these to write notes or messages, and or to draw diagrams when I'm doing various jobs with the Leslie amplifier. To take notes, I keep plenty of note paper close by. Give a little holder here with some little note card pads here. And so if I need to order parts, I always write myself a note. I keep some little post-it type pads close by. These are all tools that I use here in the shop that help me to do my job here at Vintage B3 Organ Incorporated. And I just wanted to, as I said, spend some time sharing this with you. I hope you enjoyed it and got something out of it. May you continue to prosper and move forward in life. Dr. Kemp here saying to you, peace out.